And we're back, and we just finished watching 2017's Batman and Bill, a documentary currently streaming on Hulu that runs 1 hour and 33 minutes. It was directed by Don Argott and Sheena M. Joyce. I'd heard this story vaguely, but to actually sit and watch it was quite an experience for me. This film literally broke my heart so many times, but the end is gratifying.
Yeah.
What did you think?
I thought it was amazing. It was better than I imagined. I had heard about the documentary because I listened to or I watch a YouTube channel called Comic Tropes, where the hosts went into some of the details that the documentary doesn't cover, but he also covered some of that, and he also mentions the documentary where he got some of the information that he was displaying, and basically it's about the creation of Batman and how for almost 100 years now, every time you see Batman, it always says created by Bob Kane. That's the only name you'll ever see created by Bob Kane, always. And the truth of the matter was that wasn't the case.
It was like 80 years, because I think the granddaughter was like, it was like the 80th anniversary of.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, because Batman came around in like
39, 40.
Yeah. Right. But still, ridiculously long time.
Amount of time.
I
Absolutely.
mean, inhumanly about lifetimes.
Yes. And a property that has generated quite a bit of income, I am sure.
And with a level of influence that, I mean, it rivals
Santa Claus.
Like Santa Claus or Jesus or something.
Right. I mean, I think in the opening is a great example of that. You have the storyteller for this is a man named Marc Tyler Nobleman, who is a book writer and a storyteller by trade, and stumbled upon the name Bill Finger. And from there, this beautiful journey / odyssey to bring Bill Finger's existence back to the forefront and back into the spotlight.
And give him the credit
that he is way overdue.
Really deserves.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that scene at the beginning where he's like asking the kids about, do you know what this symbol is?
Symbol is, yeah.
And no one on this earth doesn't know what that symbol is. You can go to, like he was saying, you can go to Africa, you can go to United Arab Emirates, Taiwan, you can go to London, anywhere. Taiwan, anywhere, and everybody knows what the bat symbol is and what that represents. So from there, the story is told mostly through Marc Tyler's perspective of how he went on this quest basically to uncover as much as he could and to ultimately do the right thing, which is very in line with the whole mythos of the superhero.
Yeah.
Parallels are made, right? He sacrifices a lot of his own time, his own family time to go on this quest to do Bill Finger some justice.
Yeah, and he writes like it's basically the story of him writing this I guess it's maybe a
book about
a bit of a biography on the guy and just getting him the credit he deserves, but it also becomes more because like you said, it becomes a quest to get justice. Get his name on the property where it belongs. It shouldn't just be Bob Kane.
Right.
And
well, in all fairness, Bob Kane did a great job of making sure he suppressed.
Yeah, he was the salesman. He was the guy who was pushing all the buttons. He was the guy who was making all the deals. And everything you hear
benefiting from it.
Yeah, benefiting greatly from it. And everything you hear about Finger was that he was just a quiet guy who I guess he just wanted to work and sort of disappear into the shadows. But there were moments in there where you could see that he really wanted that credit. Like that whole bit
the
with
Charles Sinclair story.
Yeah,
that wrecked me.
He's like, he's like, he says he's just sort
almost
of like
apologetically, can I
get the top billing on this thing? It's the only thing up until that like up until the very end where his name is associated in any way with something Batman. He wrote a script
for the TV show.
TV show for Batman, the 66 Adam West show. And just the way they present it and
the friend was so gracious about it, right? Because I think he knew. And that was the other just really despicable thing about this, how all those DC people knew. How originally it was the national company, right? Whatever. Yeah. They knew. And then the DC people knew. And yet no one did anything for this man.
Yeah, because Kane was just adamant, vehement about, I am the sole creator. And when back in, what was it, like the 70s or 80s when comic conventions first started.
The 60s, that one in New York that guy was talking about. Yeah, amazing, by the way.
And like the
everybody, I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but just really quick. Everybody in this is such a good storyteller.
Oh, yes.
Everyone.
Yes, absolutely.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
And when the word starts getting out, this guy was at this comic convention and he says that he created the look, the majority of the cast of characters that you've grown to know and love. And once that came out, Kane wrote like this huge pages-long diatribe about how he was the only one. He was the only one. He was the only one. And it was funny that one guy that they're interviewing, they're like, when he did that, he pretty much said, I am going to live this lie.
Right.
And I can't go back from it, ever.
Right.
And the funny thing is that he only ever gives Finger credit after Finger is dead.
Right. Which is just awful.
Sickening.
And I really liked the biographer, that Thomas Andrade guy, who also kind of pieces it together in a way, because he's like, oh, you drew these when you were 14?
Yeah. He's drawn superheroes before superheroes
existed. Right. And but just the attention to detail, oh, you even had the bat symbol on him before it was even a thing.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, yeah, I knew it was going to be that. And then, of course, the scene where I completely lost my shit was when Kane's giving that interview and he's like, oh, just send me the residual. When I die, just keep sending me the residual checks in heaven. And I'm like, what? Who says that?
Meanwhile, Finger dies penniless on his couch in front of a minuscule black and white television. They had to go to the office that made Batman so that he could watch it in color.
On a large color screen.
Oh my God, that one episode that he made. It was just so sad and it's a fascinating story. Seriously, and it is a satisfying story.
Yes, the end is satisfying. I don't know. Do we speak to spoilers here? I think, you know what? I'm going to anyway, because I think that this is a story that bears repeating, that bears absolutely must be testified to, that I think in the end, and not just for this story, but just life in general, just be a decent goddamn person. Yeah. Seriously.
Do the right thing.
Do the right thing. You say you emulate these superheroes. Superheroes are about compassion and empathy.
And doing the right thing.
And doing the right thing, even if it hurts. And I think that, God, I'm so pleased and just so gratified to Marc Tyler Nobleman for just assuming this mantle. He didn't have to do any of this. It could have just been a little anecdote that he'd heard about this guy who allegedly was the co-creator.
Oh, I'm sure there are tons of stories out there in various genres and creative fields where it's just, oh, did you know the Flintstones are really created by this guy?
Right. But this, I felt like this was so heartbreaking because it was just, here's a man that just let this thing that he created be stolen from him.
Yeah.
And then this other guy who becomes this big player based off a lie.
Just unremorseless too. He knew the hard times that this other guy had fallen upon. He says, "Oh, I saw him a year before he died.
Right.
We sat in a park and we talked."
I call bullshit on that
I
story.
think that's bullshit too.
Yeah.
But he definitely knew that this guy was not doing well.
Right.
I mean, it's not a big community.
Right.
It's sickening. It truly is sickening. He's raking in just tons of cash based upon another person's work.
Right. Right.
And
yeah, I mean, like he may have had an idea.
Not even throwing him a bone.
Yeah.
You know, oh, okay, you could have 10% or something like that.
Or something.
It was Batman.
Yeah, right.
Batman is like,
it's a license
and
to print money.
Since we started this episode, Batman's probably earned DC another $100,000.
Yeah, yeah.
Just in like toy sales and stuff. He's probably on TV right now somewhere.
Right.
In one of his many forms. The comic books, the movies, the cartoons, the toys, the video games, bed sheets, underwear,
snack trays,
stuff
that you didn't even know you needed, like Batman and Robin Valentine's Day cards. I'm sure those exist.
You know they exist.
Exactly.
Hell
and
yeah.
I mean, that's that crazy. I mean, I'm going to out myself, and that's stupid. Listen, I love Tim Burton. But that Batman movie is garbage.
Oh, it's the
and
shits.
that movie made an obscene amount of money.
Oh, God, yeah. Hell yeah.
An obscene amount of money. And I'm sure Bob Kane or his estate got some of that money.
Oh, definitely. I mean, if so long as his name is there, he's picking up something.
And especially as the sole
Especially
creator.
if he wants his residuals sent to heaven.
Ugh, what a dirtbag. From this day forward, that name is banned. Well, after we do this podcast, I'm banning that name from this house. But I'm still so surly. This movie made me laugh. It made me cry several times. It made me just livid. Yeah. Absolutely
it's a great watch, even if you don't give a crap about
Batman or comic books or that culture.
It is
an excellent, compelling story.
Just justice being done.
Yes. And ultimately, at the end of the day, that's what this story is about. It's about doing the right thing and justice being served. Oh, I want to watch it again. I mean, we just finished it, but I want to watch it again.
It's good. I'm glad.
Really,
I'm glad
good.
they put it on Hulu.
Yeah.
I'm so glad and we stumbled across it. Seriously, Hulu is like sort of like becoming the MVP streaming service because we just like scroll through it not expecting anything.
And then we're
like,
pleasantly
that looks
surprised.
Interesting. And certainly there it was.
Yeah. We can't sleep on Hulu anymore. I think we got to put that more into the rotation.
Yeah.
But and I was going to say this ties in nicely with our other feature, which is Galaxy Quest, which is about that culture, right?
Yeah.
And that was another interesting aspect about this film, how the fans really pressured the granddaughter. Yeah. Like, when are you going to...
And it's funny how the fans react towards the beginning of the documentary and towards the end.
Yeah.
In the beginning, it's like, oh, do you know who the Joker is? Do you know who Commissioner Gordon is? Do you know who Bill Finger is? And everybody's like, no. And then by the end, it comes to a point where they can't just shuffle it away anymore. Like that Comic-Con convention where the guy basically stands up and says... what's going on with Bill Finger?
Yeah.
And the guy from DC.
Oh, yeah, we're good with the Finger family. And the Finger family is like, no, I don't think so.
No, we're not.
Yeah. Good for them. Good for them. I love that whole exchange with the granddaughter and her stepsister and the copyright lawyer. That was really good. I felt like the tension. I felt like, oh my God, where is this gonna go? Because like they even said, like the stepsister, who's also a lawyer, which I thought was interesting, even said like this, I mean, you're basically David and Goliath. You're going up against this multi-billion-dollar company who could have this stuff litigated for the next 100 years. Yeah. And they went big and they were pleasantly surprised.
I'm sure they probably deserved more.
Oh, I'm sure.
I have no doubt that the settlement wasn't
as big as it could have been. As it
should have been by rights. But hey.
Right. Well, ultimately, she wanted that acknowledgement.
The big thing was the credit. The big thing was the credit,
Yeah,
I
because
mean, they don't go into anything about financials and whatnot.
and nobody really cares.
No, that's not really the important thing. You would hope that
Warner Brother does right by these people, for God's sakes.
Yeah, comic creators definitely deserve to get more,
for sure,
more of a payday from everything that's going on.
Yeah, well, I think it's interesting that you say that. I mean, I spend probably more time than I should on Twitter, and I follow a couple of artists and stuff, and that's something that they always complain about, and I believe rightly so. It's like, you want me to work for you? Pay me. Yeah. That's only fair.
And if it moves to a different type of media, it should happen. Like the whole thing with the guy who drew and designed everything for Hawkeye.
Oh,
they completely
disgusting.
aped his designs for that entire show. I mean, love the show, love Marvel movies, keep up the good work, but
Disney,
seriously,
pay this guy.
Pay that man.
Yeah.
If you're if he draw, and it's not even like he just drew a picture of Hawkeye. He designed a cover with like a specific type of design motif with silhouettes and masks and all of this stuff, and then you ape it
to the letter.
Just exactly. The only thing difference is one is a 2D drawing and the other is a image, a photograph of the actors.
Come on,
man. Give this guy more than like $1,000.
Yeah.
This show is you're pumping millions of dollars into it. It's making millions because through subscriptions and everything
merchandise
else.
And Happy Meal toys and God knows what else.
Give the artists
their due,
something, and the writers. Yeah. Seriously, these guys are working hard, and they're paid well by Marvel. I'm sure. Neither of the guys that worked on Hawkeye were like rookies with some crummy page rate. I'm sure they were doing well, but still, you're moving to a different medium.
Yeah. It
like,
shouldn't just be a given that these people have to fight for their...
we get to work, this is ours, and we could do anything we want with it. We could copy it and change it slightly, and we don't have to give you anything extra.
Yeah.
That's
not right.
That is wrong.
Right.
That is absolutely wrong.
That is absolutely wrong. Yeah.
Credit
and I think this is also...
Always.
I think this film is also what's the word I'm looking for? A cautionary tale to other artists about copyrights. Like, really know your stuff before you sign anything.
I mean, that's hard though.
It is
because
hard,
it's like
but
if like with the whole Simon and Schuster, was it Simon and Schuster or Siegel and Schuster?
Oh,
the creators of Superman. They're like, we sold the rights away to Superman because we're just two young kids.
Yeah, we didn't know any better.
We wanted to get our character out there. We would have done anything to get it out there, and they signed it away. And Superman is a phenomenon
and a property of DC,
a huge property,
and a property
of DC.
Of Warner Brothers,
and they screwed those guys. They completely screwed those dudes.
Yeah, that's sad. That's also another character that probably not as. I mean, but up
he's
there.
He's as iconic as Batman, but he's not as popular as Batman.
Right. I was going to say he's as iconic, but not as popular. Agreed. But still, probably has made the companies involved gajillions of dollars.
So much money. And to
my parents took us to go see the Christopher Reeve Superman movies in the movie theaters.
Yeah, me too. And
I think my brother had a T-shirt and a lunchbox.
Yeah. And
none of that's free.
And all of those millions and millions and millions of dollars that you are collecting perennially for decades, you can't fork over a percentage
to the families,
to the people that deserve it.
That's awful.
To cut them in on it. No, you got paid already. I got paid $125 back in 1933 or whatever the hell it was created.
Sickening.
That's
sickening.
That is absolutely sickening. Just because you have somebody over a barrel and you're able to just fuck them in the ass.
Terrible.
Doesn't mean later on. Just seriously.
Be a decent human being.
Exactly. Be a decent human being. There's just void of decency when it comes to these legal contracts. Oh well, you made the deal.
Yeah. Oh, it's terrible. Yeah, that was also heartbreaking. Yeah, this movie really this moved me a lot. I cried several times.
Yeah, I could definitely see that.
It's
Yeah.
heartbreaking.
Yeah.
My
I mean,
God.
the moment the scene, like I said, where he finally sees his name.
Oh, that made me crazy.
That was touching to me. Yeah, because I could imagine that kind of like overwhelming pride that you would get when you see that.
Right.
And that was such a small thing, a tiny.
And it wasn't like the studio even did it for him. His friend allowed it.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible.
All right. Well, what do you give this?
You know what? Normally, I would probably say like an 8, 8.5, a 9. I'm going to give this movie a 10. This movie really spoke to me on so many levels, but just mostly about being decent, which I think is lost on so many people. And if we could just get back to that, I really feel like we could really move forward in a meaningful way. And I hope that anyone that hears this really tries to seek this movie out, really tries to listen to what people are saying, really tries to understand the messages here, and just go about your life and try to be decent.
Yeah.
And spread that and pay that forward so that you too can get some of that back. Because I think when we're good to others, we're good to ourselves. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. And money isn't everything. I mean, it helps, but it isn't everything. And I think at the end,
and especially money in those kind of quantities.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yes.
I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Giving these people the credit the credit and the compensation they deserve is not going to break the studio. It's not going to hurt anybody.
Right.
That's just absolute insane greed you're talking about right there.
Yeah.
If you're not willing to do that, you are just flat out evil. You have gone from being kind of out for yourself a little bit to just straight up evil.
Yeah. And every time he was interviewed, he just seems so Kane. He just seems so smarmy and just.
Oh yeah, I was talking about the whole corporate structure there, but oh my God, Kane was a scumbag.
Ugh.
What
Awful.
a scumbag! What an absolute scumbag!
Awful. I mean, when I saw that was my turning point. I was literally livid. I could feel my blood pressure going up in that scene where he's like, "Oh, just send my residual checks to heaven." That for me was like, you are not a good person.
No. And I'm not saying he doesn't deserve some kind of credit. He does, but he's a scumbag. He's
Agreed.
An absolute to do that to that guy, and from like if you listen to the Comic Tropes channel on YouTube, it wasn't just Finger that he was screwing.
No, I'm sure.
I mean,
sure.
That guy.
Oh, you told me some stuff before.
That guy was a scumbag.
You gotta send me the link so I can include it in the.
Okay.
Yeah, so people can do some more deep dive.
Scumbag.
Say it again.
Scumbag.
Amen.
I'd give this a 9.
I'm gonna give this a 10.
I thought it was outstanding. I'm
gonna give it a 10. It's funny. Last year, around this time, we did Derek Delgadio's In and of Itself. Also, that was streaming on Hulu.
Hulu again?
And that's sort of a documentary. This is absolutely a documentary. Just really fantastic storytelling. Fantastic. Thank you to everyone involved in this project, the families, the directors, all the talking heads, but especially a big shout out to Marc Tyler Nobleman. He is a superhero.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Go buy his stuff, damn it.
Yeah.
Support him.
What was it called?
A boy wonder named Bill or something.
Bill the Boy Wonder.
Or something, yeah. I'm going to go on in some kind of bookseller later and look for that guy's titles and start buying his stuff. Yeah, and just all the love in the world to the Finger family. Just amazing. So happy that as of 2015, Bill Finger's name, rightly so, is also given co-creditor credit for the Batman. Super excited to see the new one with Robert Pattinson. Probably going to wait for it to stream unless we're in a better place. I don't see me going to a theater anytime soon, but looking forward to. Definitely, we'll keep an eye out for the Finger name. Now that I know,
make sure it's there.
Yeah, make sure it's there.
I'm hoping
DC
they put it in all the comics from now on too.
Oh yeah, that's true too. Yeah.
They better.
Yeah. Be
Anyway.
decent, DC.
Yes.
All right, that's it from us, and we will bid you all a good night.
Good night.